Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I want to talk about something I came across. This unhinged argument, this unhinged ridiculous argument about reparations. You know, there was a debate between a gentleman named Jesse Lee Peterson. He's a very smart black man. Very intelligent black man, okay? And then you had some motherfucker, Tariq Nasheed or whatever the fuck his name is. Reparations. And he talks about you can see the hatred. You can see the hatred in this Tariq, whatever his name is. You can see the hatred. He talks about reparations and white supremacy and Jim Crow. What is wrong with these black men? Just what exactly is wrong with these black men? Here it is, 2026. These black men talk about something you don't know anything about. You weren't even born. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing about segregation because you are too young. You never had to live through it. And he's unhinged, you know, talking over people, stupid talking points. You're young. I'm older than you. And I don't even know about segregation because it was ended before I was born. Because of warriors, because of people that fought for me, like the late Jesse Jackson, who was a civil rights movement, helped with the civil rights movement. He was the real deal before the civil rights got hijacked. May he rest in peace. People like him that fought for me, went to jail for me. But this young guy, this young pup, he's nothing but a baby. A baby. Talking about white supremacy. What do you know about white supremacy? If white supremacy was real, you would not even be allowed to talk about them. They would make you disappear. And it's sad. It's very sad that you have these self-righteous black people with their indignation to try to justify hate of something of long ago and claim some kind of reward for it. Instead of getting your asses out, stay in school, learn a skill. Times are changing, but you learn a skill and get a job. Nobody owes you nothing. Nobody. You black men, hey black man, nobody owes you nothing. You young black men, you have built nothing. You have built absolutely nothing. You are too young. You can't even finish high school, some of you. You're out here in the streets killing each other. Put the guns down. Put the drugs down. That's what you need to do. You need to be focused on yourself and your community. Nobody owes you nothing, young black man. Get off your ass and get to work. Nobody owes you shit. Reparations. Reparations, my ass. You want to be given something that you did not work for. You didn't do shit. And the sad thing is, they're pushing this garbage about how you are treated. Here's 2026. You have no idea. You have no idea what it was like to see a white water fountain and a colored water fountain. You couldn't go in this store. You couldn't go in that store. You had to use a certain bathroom. It's ridiculous. And I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing this shit. It doesn't make any sense. Listen to this.
Exchange between Jesse Lee Peterson and Tariq Nasheed about reparations, white supremacy, and the economic history of America. As always, I'll pause along the way to point out logical fallacies, contradictions, and rhetorical tricks that pop up during the discussion. If you enjoy breaking down arguments and spotting bad logic in real time, hit subscribe and let's get it.
White people.
What I want for them to stop practicing white supremacy and replace the system of white supremacy with justice. I want them to redistribute the maldistributed resources that come with systematic white supremacy. I want them to punish.
You want reparations? Does that mean reparations?
You can call it whatever. I don't.
But is that what you're saying for the understanding?
Redistributed resources that were maldistributed because blacks had their resources maldistributed. We were denied things, and it was codified by the government. Do you agree with that?
Meaning reparations, right?
Well, we were denied things that were codified by the government. The government
like
sanctioned with jobs, housing, health, all types of not reparations, but all types of resources that were given to the dominant society. The dominant society is meaning white supremacists. They've been giving reparations for the last.
And you weren't around. You weren't around. You weren't around. How do you know what they did? How do you know what any of them did? You weren't even born. You weren't even born. You weren't even around in that time period. You want something for nothing. And then what you going to do with it? Nothing. 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 What, you're going to go buy yourself a new pair of Air Jordans? You're going to buy yourself some cigarettes, some liquor. Instead of investing it, buy property. We all know what you're going to do with it. Shameful.
That's 200 or 300 years.
Amazing.
So, right.
And so you want reparations for white people, exactly. You want them to stop being white supremacists.
Reparations from white people, or the resources that were generated from.
He wants to be given something.
If it wasn't for free African labor, there would be no wealth in this country, Jesse. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree with that too.
Where did it come from? Where did the wealth of this country come from if it wasn't for free African labor?
The hard work of the men and women, the good men and women of this country.
So the free African labor weren't good men and women?
Let me ask you this.
So the free African labor, those were not good men.
I want to ask you
deflecting means you don't believe what you said, Jesse.
I want to ask you another question.
Deflecting means you don't believe what you just said, but I got you.
I grew up under the Jim Crow laws.
White supremacy.
And while growing up, Black Americans, including my family members and others, did better for themselves then than they do today, and they were not complaining about white supremacy.
Yes, they were, Jesse. You're telling a lie. Looking at me telling a lie. Yes, they were, Jesse. Jesse, they had the Montgomery.
You grew up in
not in my neighborhood. Jesse, they had the Montgomery bus boycott where you live, brother.
I didn't live in Montgomery.
You say you live near Montgomery, right?
Right.
They had a bus boycott, brother. Why was there was a bus boycott that led off the civil rights movement?
That was to change the law,
the white
so that blacks would be treated under the law equally.
But
let me ask you.
So we agree.
But it was about all that other mess.
Right. But we agree.
This is ridiculous. Now he's going to tell Jesse Lee Peterson what his family did. See? Now you were there. You were there. You're going to tell him no, it wasn't. Now he's telling you his family. You know his family, but he doesn't. This is the mindset. This is the mindset of these crazy motherfuckers. He's going to tell Jesse Lee Peterson what his family did. You were there, right? So now, were you there? Were you there? This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You were there. You're gonna tell this man. What happened? You weren't even born. You weren't even born.
agree. You actually agree with me. But go ahead, brother.
Let me ask
Go
you.
ahead, sir.
I grew up under Jim Crow law
Yes.
down in Alabama.
Right.
My family members and other blacks that we knew owned land. They took care of themselves.
They work.
They learned to work hard. They were very creative. There were black universities that they would go to and come back as professionals. They had money. Matter of fact, I had one of my aunts, she and her husband got married, bought
And by the way,
buku land.
those black universities were funded by whites, by the way.
Bought buku land.
But the black universities were funded by whites.
Is that a negative?
All right, pause for a second. Here we run into a classic causal oversimplification. Tariq is arguing that because enslaved labor existed, the wealth of the United States is primarily the result of that labor, and therefore modern redistribution is justified. But that skips several logical steps. Yes, slavery contributed to parts of the early American economy, especially agriculture.
True.
But claiming that the entire modern economy is essentially built on that single factor ignores industrialization, immigration, technological innovation, and 2 centuries of economic development. That's what philosophers call a monocausal explanation, trying to explain a complex system with one cause. History is messy. Economies are complicated. Reducing everything to slavery equals modern wealth may be rhetorically powerful, but it's not a particularly strong historical argument.
I'm just saying, you're making it seem like it was an independent thing. Unfortunately,
it was just like all universities now. They got some money from the government, and they put money in themselves.
And they funded.
You know, this is sad. This is real. This is pathetic. This is pathetic. This is pathetic. Instead of him going out and try to reach these young black men. Try to reach these young black boys before it's too late, before they get a certain age. You get these black boys young and give these young black kids guidance. Get these young black boys to stay in school. Get these young black boys to stop gangbanging. He's talking about white supremacy. It ain't no white people out in the streets of Chicago shooting up folks. Them black folks. Every major city. That where the crime is. Those are black folks. You don't see white folks running around gangbanging. Black folks in black neighborhoods, in these ghettos, in these hoods. They black folks. What is he talking about? He keeps talking about white supremacy. He doesn't even know these people. These stupid people. They don't even know their own history. But he wants something from some fallacy about what something was. He's going to tell you what the South was like 100 years ago when you weren't even around. My daddy wasn't even around. This is their logic. They want the federal government to compensate them for something they didn't work for. Make it make sense. I don't understand it. I'll never understand this bullshit. But that's all for now. What do you guys think? People that keep wanting handouts. Nobody wants to hustle anymore to get themselves a good life by working. They want to be given something. I don't understand it. They think that we, working people that do work, we're going to be ETB cards for them. We're going to be ETB cards for them. You keep taking money. You keep getting money from the taxpayers. When the taxpayers don't have any money, who are you going to get the money from then when we don't have it? Where are you going to get the money from then? You going to start robbing? That's all for now. And you guys have a blessed day. Be safe out there. And goodbye.